Well, hi everyone. It's Ashley Hinson coming to you from my office in DC, but I'm fresh off of a trip to the Texas-Mexico border. I was able to head down there with a delegation of federal fellow members of Congress and see firsthand what was happening there. So I wanted to share some of the observations that I had from that trip, and then kind of some of the action items that I think are really, really important that we actually address and take care of here in Washington, D.C. So the first thing I would say is that it was just heartbreaking what I was seeing. You've got obviously a surge of migrant children. The day I was there, it was announced that it was a record, and we have almost 20,000 kids in custody. That was as of last week. So absolutely heartbreaking that that many kids have had to make that dangerous trek on their own. Many of which are being, smuggled over the border by cartels and human traffickers. So there's a lot of concern there for me. As I toured the facility at Eagle Pass, I saw the plexiglass cubes basically that these kids are being kept in. My heart just broke. I mean, there were kids who were my kids' ages, 10 and 8, in these holding facilities, and there's no plan. There's no plan from the Biden administration on what to do here. And it was very clear to me, and it was very clear to the Customs and Border Patrol agents that we met with and talked with, that they're being outgunned, outmanned. They don't have the resources necessary to keep up. And truly, it seems like this problem, this crisis at the border is out of sight and out of mind to people in DC. So I thought it was really, really important that I was able to be there, peel back the curtain, have those conversations, not only with Customs and Border Patrol, but with local law enforcement and local mayors. We had a roundtable discussion, and I think the most telling moment for me was when I was talking with them, and I was actually saying, "Hey, good job keeping up with the cartels. I know you've got your work cut out for you." And they said, "We're not keeping up. We're completely outmaneuvered. The cartels are using way more technology than what our guys have down there to keep our community safe, and they're overwhelmed. The cartels are more brazen than they've ever been. The number of they call them stash houses, where they find an empty home, or they even purchase empty homes at this point, use them to stash people and stash drugs. Those numbers are on the rise. The numbers of sex offenders that they're getting crossing the border are on the rise. They showed us in our update with the Del Rio sector that they have apprehended 62 different countries, people coming in from 62 different countries. Many of them we know don't have good intentions toward our country. So there were just a lot of alarm bells going off in my mind about the situation that's happening there, and the fact that it seems that there is no desire to take any action on these problems at the border. It's quite frustrating to me, and I think that there are some very simple solutions that we could enact right now. They are saying that the border wall it would be effective if it was done, but it's not done. That construction was halted the day President Biden took office, so we need to get that border construction going again for the wall. And I think we need to make sure that our Customs and Border Patrol agents have the funding and the resources they need to be able to be safe. They're down agents right now because of COVID. They haven't been able to get people through academies at the same rate they need to. And so that's a real vulnerability when you have to pull people off of the border to essentially care for a lot of these migrant children, instead of having them there to protect the border. That puts our local law enforcement at risk because they're having to fill in those gaps. That puts people in those communities that they are supposed to be serving and protecting at risk, because instead of actually doing their job, they have to be off protecting the border and filling in gaps for Customs and Border Patrol. So it was a very eye-opening trip for me, very frustrating trip for me, because I think that at this point, it's inaction, and it's an inability to recognize that we have a major problem occurring at the border. And so I'm ready to work on some solutions here in Washington, D.C. to make sure that we can keep not only those in Texas safe, but people in Iowa safe. Every state is a border state. And it was very clear to me in talking with Customs and Border Patrol, once they get through, if they aren't caught, they're coming straight north, and Interstate 35 intersects with Interstate 80 right in Iowa. And you've got that north-south, east-west corridor that is truly a vulnerability for us for safety and security reasons in Iowa. Not to mention the human element of the fact that those drugs are pouring into our state, and people are being trafficked through our state. And that's just unacceptable to me. So it's time to take action. I'm calling on the Biden administration to do so. And we absolutely have to fix this crisis at the border, because our country's safety and security depends on it.